In the opening scene, we are introduced to a revolution in Sovo, a Russian state. Dmitri and Arkady, two brothers, spearheaded this revolution. They instigated a riot in the state of Sokovia with the aim of securing independence from Russia. Dmitri reportedly died when Russia declared war. The Russian government captured Arkady at the same time, effectively ending the revolution in Sovo. Arkady discovers that Dmitri is still alive 17 years later. It turns out Dmitri pretended to die, had facial surgery, and disappeared. Arkady travels to London in search of his brother. Some of Arkady's men are pursuing an informant who knows where Dmitri is. On a deserted street, the informant continues to flee. Dmitri is unwilling to divulge his location. Let's say they find him and force him to return to Sokovia with his brother. In that scenario, a potentially deadly new revolution could break out. Unfortunately, Arkady's men apprehend the informant and take him to a torture facility. However, the informant remains silent and does not reveal Dmitri's location. A special American soldier named Michael Knox arrives at the London airport. He moved to London to meet the family of a late friend who had fought in Afghanistan. Dani is the daughter of his late friend. Her mother frequently punishes her for her rebellious behavior. Knox, who has just arrived, apprehends Dani as she sneaks out the window to her best friend's house. Dani immediately extends an invitation to Knox to join her inside the house. After they embrace, Knox's arrival serves as an invitation to a football game at West Ham Stadium. When they arrive at the stadium, Dani tells him about her grief over her father's death. Her father was more concerned with state affairs than with his family, which disappointed her. Soon after, Dani's boyfriend texts her, asking her to meet him in the stadium's northwest corner. Dani then requests that Knox buy her some snacks because she is hungry. Meanwhile, Arkady's men enter the stadium by disguising themselves as match officials. Arkady's men break into a room and hack all CCTV camera systems. They assassinate a guard and break into the stadium control room. Arkady's men kill some staff members in the control room to intimidate the other staff members into obeying their orders. The control room also features Police Chief Thompson, who oversees the match. Arkady menaces Thompson with a gun and threatens to kill his family if he refuses his orders. Whether he likes it or not, Thompson eventually obeys the orders. The first thing Arkady does is close all of the stadium's entrances and exits. A computer system automatically closes all stadium doors, preventing spectators inside the stadium from leaving. Moreover, the stadium's cell phone signal transmitters sustain damage. Knox returns to his seat and finds Dani nowhere in sight. He then attempts to call Dani, but the cell phone signal abruptly dies. On the other hand, Knox is unaware of any sabotage inside the stadium. He approaches a member of the stadium staff named Fizzle, who is standing guard in the stands near the audience seats and appears to be panicking. He directs Fizzle to search for CCTV footage of Dani. Fizzle then contacts the control room to locate the missing person, but the security officers do not respond. Knox forces Fizzle to take him to the control room on the top side of the stadium. Fizzle reluctantly agrees. They are about to enter the elevator when Arkady's men, disguised as guards, stop them. Since Knox insists on going to the control room, Arkady's henchman, Andrei, lets them into the elevator. Andrei's expression changes as he enters the elevator. He moves to attack the two of them. There is quite a fight in the elevator until Knox starts choking Andrei. Knox directs Fizzle to retrieve a gun from the elevator floor and fire at Andrei's head. Finally, Andrei is murdered, and his body is dragged into the toilet. They discover explosives in the bag. They both understand that a bombing during a football match poses a threat to the stadium. Knox contacts the police chief outside the stadium using Fizzle's walkie-talkie. He alerts the police chief about a potential sabotage incident at the stadium. The police commander does not immediately believe Knox's complaint. The police commander contacts Thompson. Regrettably, Arkady, who is holding Thompson, held hostage, deceives the police commander by claiming the stadium is safe. Arkady's men are looking for Dmitri, who is allegedly in the row of spectators watching the game in another corner of the stadium. Meanwhile, the rest of Arkady's men are busy installing bombs in the stadium's corners. Dmitri's men continue to screen audience faces through the computer systems they had hacked. Soon after, in the control room, Arkady receives a complaint from his female subordinate, Tana, who informs him about Andrei's disappearance. Finally, two of Arkady's men search for Andrei and discover his body in the toilet. Knowing that one of his men is dead, Arkady dispatches two other men, Vlad and Anton, to find the person responsible for Andrei's death. Knox is well aware that Arkady's men will soon pursue him, so he tells Fizzle to sprint and look for Dani in the row of audience seats. Fizzle escapes through the stadium kitchen's tiny elevator ventilation gap. Meanwhile, Knox remains in the kitchen and is confronted by Vlad and Anton. They engage in a fierce battle. Not long after, Knox has the potential to kill Anton, but Vlad's strength hinders him. Knox becomes engrossed in the action as the fight continues. Fortunately, his battlefield experience equips him with an effective strategy for defeating opponents, particularly when time is crucial. Finally, Knox successfully removes Vlad by submerging him in boiling water. Tana, Vlad's girlfriend, enters the kitchen to inspect the situation. She is furious when she discovers that her boyfriend has died with a charred face. Meanwhile, Knox makes his way out of the kitchen with Anton's body. He throws Anton's body out of the stadium, alerting the police stationed outside to the dangerous situation inside. When the police spot a body thrown from the stadium's roof, they realize the situation is serious. Arkady and his men go to the TV broadcast room where several TV crews are showing the ongoing match. The local television station broadcasts live footage of the shooting. Arkady asks one of the reporters to read his message over a TV broadcast, which includes a threat to blow up the stadium if the police try to enter. The British government receives the message and relays it to the Russian government in an effort to locate Dmitris before the match ends. Arkady kills 2 reporters after they read the message. A TV station captures the shooting, triggering panic among London residents and Danny's mother, who is watching the match on TV. Through CCTV footage, one of Arkady's men identifies who is responsible for the attack on their men. He discovers Knox's true identity, and the CCTV footage reveals that Knox arrived at the stadium with a girl named Dani. Dani's identity appears on the screen due to the computer's connection to the police database. We see Dani walking near the field while Knox attempts to pursue her. However, the police officers on duty in the field thwart Knox's attempts to pursue her. Fortunately, Fizzle manages to seize Dani and whisk her away to meet Knox in the stadium's background room. Once Knox locates them, the 3 embark on an attempt to locate the hidden bombs. Knox summons the police chief outside and informs him that the bomb is difficult to defuse unless Arkady presses the defuse button. The only way he can retrieve Arkady's bomb disposal button is by telling him where Dmitris is. In the row of spectators, Dmitris is watching the game at the east end of the stands, according to the police chief. Knox plans to approach Dmitris in the audience. He tells Fizzle to hide with Dani in another corner of the stadium, and they part ways. Arkady's men attempt to block Knox's path to the stands. He evades Arkady's men by riding a police motorcycle. Knox makes it to the east stand and meets with Dmitris. As Arkady converses with Dmitris, he spots his brother's location on CCTV. Meanwhile, Tatiana discovers where Dani and Fizzle are hiding. She then paralyzes Fizzle and kidnaps Dani. On the other side of the stadium, Knox is seen bringing Dmitris to the stadium's roof, even though his struggle is difficult because Arkady's men keep approaching and attacking him. Knox proposes a hostage swap between Dani and Dmitris above the stadium. However, instead of returning to Sokovia with his brother and restarting the revolution, Dmitris asks Knox to kill him. Dmitris decides that continuing his revolutionary movement would only harm his people. Unhappy in summary, the hostage exchange persists above the stadium with the police helicopter also present. Dani requests the exchange after all of the spectators have left the stadium. Even if the exchange had occurred, she knew the bomb would still detonate. Knox asks Dani to walk, and they immediately engage in conversation. When Dani walks to the center, it turns out that she sees not Dmitris, but Knox disguised in Dmitris' clothes, approaching her. Dani then runs to Dmitris, and they flee the stadium stands. The cops assist by shooting Arkady's men from the helicopter. Knox immobilizes Arkady and retrieves his bomb disposal button. A fierce battle ensues. Tana relentlessly attacks Knox, forcing him to cling to his bomb disposal button for survival. When he lands in the other stands, Tana appears behind him and starts attacking him with a knife. They engage in combat until they lose control of the stand. When Tana falls, the iron traps her body. Before she passes away, she states that the bomb disposal did not work, as the bomb continues to detonate until the game reaches the 90th minute. The control room reports that one of Arkady's men has apprehended Dmitris and Dani. Dmitris provides an explanation for his decision to fake his death and disappear from the scene. His goal was to rescue Arkady, who was on the verge of execution. He grabs a gun from the table and shoots himself in an attempt to save his brother and put an end to the war. Arkady is so shocked and irritated by this unexpected incident that he fires his gun at the men who had brought Dmitris to him. Knox approaches Fizzle in one corner of the field and asks him to inform the audience to leave their seats. However, when Fizzle announces that he is carrying a bomb, the audience quickly disperses. Later, Knox is on the field and sees Dani, who is in the control room watching Arkady's broadcast. He makes every effort to run toward the control room. Regrettably, As the match nears the 90th minute, a loud explosion erupts in the control room. Knox feels guilty for not being able to care for Dmitris. However, he holds the belief that the control room failed to capture the footage on the stadium screen just before the explosion. He dashes into the middle of the field, which appears chaotic due to the number of people running. He observes that Arkady is aiming a gun at Danny's throat. Dmitris escapes by stomping her head against Arkady, with Knox advising her to do so. Knox then shoots Arkady, killing him. Knox, the main character with no involvement in Russia's revolution, successfully quelled the revolutionary movement, saving the people of Sokovia from living in misery. Thank you for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.